Hello, my name is Constantine Hawk, and today I would like to present my project about Agatha Christie. Here is a picture of her. This picture was taken between 1940 and 1950. She's a little bit older in life here. This is Agatha's early life. She was born Agatha Marie Clarissa Miller in September 15, 1890, to a middle-class family in Torquay, Devon, southwest England. By the age of 5, she taught herself to read, which is really impressive. Her mother, Clarissa, encouraged her to continue and hone in on her writing skills because she excelled at them. And she also excelled in piano and singing, so much so that she almost pursued a career in it. What deterred her from piano was she was an introvert and she was asked to play in front of a large audience, which she was afraid to do. Here's some information about Agatha's family. Her father was named Frederick Miller, and he was an American stockbroker. And her mother's name was Clarissa Boehmer. She was from British nationality, and she is a daughter of an army captain. She also had two siblings, Margaret and Louis. She was the caboose, and she separated her siblings by 10 years. It's interesting to note, though, that not many people knew that Agatha was going to be successful, and she followed in the shadow of her two siblings. People wondered what she would accomplish in life. And I think she accomplished more than anyone ever dreamed of. Agatha married her first husband, Archie Christie, in 1914, and they had one child together, Rosaline. This would also be her only child. Coincidentally, 1914 is also the start of World War I. Archie went off to fight the Germans in France, while Agatha worked at a hospital and then a pharmacy. She learned many things from those institutions, specifically about the human body and poisons, which influenced her work, and many of her murders and books are carried out with poison. Interestingly enough, in the 1920s, she was featured in a pharmaceutical guide on poisons, which I thought was very interesting. By 1920, Agatha published her first work, The Mysterious Affair at Styles. In 1926, Agatha disappeared for 11 days. Her car was found ditched in a chalk pit in Newlands Corner, Surrey. There was a lot of talk about this incident. She was found checked in at a hotel. One of the front desk people recognized her face and called police, and people came out to find her. When they found her, she didn't recognize anybody. She couldn't remember who she was, and she didn't even know her husband when she came. There's a lot of talk about why this happened to her, but she never disclosed this or really talked about it for the rest of her life. Some say it's because her mother Clarissa died in 1926, which made her depressed. But also, Archie was going through with an affair with Agatha, with another woman, and subsequently, they ended up getting a divorce in 1928. Whatever the reason, it was a roadblock in her life. But things would change in 1930. Agatha decided finally to go and ride the Orient Express, and she traveled all the way over to Iraq, which was then part of the British Empire, and she met the archaeologist Sir Max Malwyn. At the end of the train ride, they ended up getting married, or should I say, Max proposed to her, and then they would get married. But 4 years later, she would write The Murder on the Orient Express, which today has been a very lovely, good read. Later in Agatha's life, her daughter Rosaline got married to a man named Hubert Pritchard in 1940. At this time, it was the height of World War II. The Germans had taken over Western Europe, and they had begun bombing the British mainland. 3 years later, in 1943, her grandson Matthew was born, and she would dote on him and not do her work, as I found. After the war, in 1946, it was found that Mary Westmacott was actually Agatha Christie. That was her pen name, and she was the writer of many popular romance novels, and this was discovered by an American journalist who had ventured to Great Britain. The 1940s and the 50s saw Agatha devoting her time to writing plays, and a lot of them actually became successful. In 1974, The Murder on the Orient Express was a film, and Agatha was asked to come to the premiere, which she did. Only shortly 2 years later, In 1976, Agatha Christie died at the age of 85. It's not widely known that Agatha Christie had suffered from a disability. She suffered from what's called dysgraphia, otherwise known as development output failure. It's when a person has difficulties with writing, spelling, mathematics, fine motor coordination, rote learning, and shortened memory. It's reported that she struggled with spelling throughout her life, and it was so bad that she would have people look over her work to ensure those words were spelled correctly, as well as publishers making sure that she had completed thoughts and that she didn't leave any words out. Yet she overcame a majority of her disability by her mother's encouragement. Agatha once said, "My mother was the making of me. She was so true, so sure of me, and I felt I had someone to live for, and someone I must not disappoint." And I bet you if her mother was alive today to see the progress of her daughter, she would not be disappointed. Her accomplishments are vast. She has sold more than 4 billion copies of her books, and her works have been translated into 103 different languages. Some of her popular works are The Murder on the Orient Express, as well as the And Then There Were None play production. Interestingly enough, the play The Mousetrap holds the longest record for performed play. It's been in production since 1952. That's crazy. She's also presented with a damehood by Queen Elizabeth II in 1971 for her service to literature. She's also won numerous awards from the American Social English Academies as well. And here's my works cited. Thank you.